Okay, the purpose of this video is to show you how to take some data that you might have measured and create a graph using a spreadsheet program like Google Sheets. Okay. First thing is I just added some data here. The way I arranged it, I went ahead and put time on the left and distance on the right. And the reason I want to do that is because usually the first stuff in the first column, these are the columns, these are the rows. The stuff that you put in the first column is usually your independent variable. What does that mean? For those, what would the common way we know about that? That's the stuff that goes on the x-axis. Okay. Let me spread this out a little bit. So you can see that. Okay. So that on the other column, you'll get the dependent variable. I'm gonna go ahead and label that just to keep track of everything. And that's usually what we call the y-axis, the stuff on the y-axis, okay? Because in this case, the distance depends on the time where this object is. You can imagine like trying to find how fast something's moving. All right. So what you want to do is go ahead and graph all this. Now, in order to graph this, there's a few things that I want to point out. One, it doesn't have any units, right? Time says 10, 20, 30, but it didn't really tell you what it is. So a lot of times people put like 10 seconds or something like that right there. But really, these spreadsheet programs can't graph letters, so you have to put your units right here, and that's good form. So in this case, I measured my time in seconds. And distance also doesn't have any units, and it could be meters, centimeters, miles, feet. But I'm just going to go ahead and say that this is meters because the metric system is superior. And now I'm ready to kind of graph. So I'm going to go ahead and just highlight the data that I want to graph. Then I'm going to go up here to say insert. I'm going to click on chart. And then you'll see this the data's graphed, and the spreadsheet program's kind of intelligent, and it already kind of gave you a title. You could always change that just by clicking on it and show you where you can format it on the right. Or if you want to change this, it'll once again, like you want to change the title, you can do that there. A few things you might want to be able to point out. Here's where you can kind of fine tune your graph. First thing you want to point out is the setup right here where it says setup. Instead of customizing, let's go to setup real quick. These are the different types of charts you can make. So if you want to have like a very, it's a linear graph, then you can just kind of click on that and it'll turn it to a linear graph. Now, personally, I like looking at the data because it shows you where you could have made a mistake, because you'll see like one data point like all the way out here. You're like, oops, something happened right there. The other thing I want to point out is, how do you customize it? Let's make it look a little bit prettier here. One thing you can do is you can go to your horizontal axis, and no, that's not it. Sorry. It is the grid lines and ticks. If you want to make that a little bit more fine-tuned, so what do you want to do with the horizontal axis? I want to get the minor grid lines. You'll see it adds those lines. And I also want to do that for this side, so you can change the vertical axis and do the same. You could even include the tick marks, which are these, that identifies where this stuff is. And you'll see that it adds the little lines. So it makes it nice and easy to read. You could add the minor tick marks if you want to really make it look nice. Horizontal will do the same thing. And then the final thing I want to point out is you want to try and, like, you see that this is a line, and what we like to do is kind of know like the equation of the line, the trend. And so I'm gonna go ahead and add a trend line here. You can do that by going here. If you click on the dots here, it'll take you exactly to where you need to go. So back to customize, and you'll see data series 1 is the blue one we're talking about, and you'll see down here I want to add a trend line. That's what I'm going to go and do. And when it does, you'll see that it includes the data points, but it also tells you the trend. And what we like is usually an equation, the mathematical model that represents that trend. And the way you do that, you go right here where it says label, and then you'll click on, you see there it says use equation. So once again, go right here under customize, under the series, and you scroll all the way down, add a trend line, and then you go ahead and click on label and use equation. And when that happens, it'll give you the equation of that trend line. Okay, so once you have this, you're pretty much ready to go. You can always, change your titles, make it look really nice. And this you can copy and paste wherever you'd like. All right. Good luck.